Buddha's Four Noble Truths. Truth number one: life is unsatisfactory. Truth number two: the cause of the unsatisfactoriness is attachment or craving or desire. Truth number three: the unsatisfactoriness, also known as suffering, can be alleviated if the desire is dropped, if the craving is dropped. And truth number four is his way of transcending, of going beyond the suffering, the eightfold path, which is just one way of doing it. So, if you contemplate on these noble truths long enough and you contemplate them, you really find them to be truths. You really do. They are indeed noble truths. As far as this plane of existence is concerned, as far as third density existence is concerned, it really is unsatisfactory. It really is full of suffering and pain. And it is our desire for things to be a certain way that causes our suffering, not necessarily our pain. Pain is just pain. It's physical sensation. Suffering is a mental phenomenon. And it is rooted in this constant searching, constant looking for something external. So, how do you become free of suffering? How do you become free of unsatisfactoriness? How do you find peace? How do you find fulfillment and release yourself from suffering? Well, what a lot of people would do as soon as they figured that out is they'd go on renouncing things. So they'd renounce sex, they renounce friendships, they renounce the world. This is sort of the classical yogi, the classical image of a yogi, right? Goes out into the world and just out of the world, goes somewhere to a cave, to a mountain, to the jungle, and just renounces the world because he or she has realized that it isn't going to bring me happiness. So let me go within, let me go inside myself. And of course, using the renunciation model is very helpful because you will go deeper into the self. However, there is a very good chance, most of the times, that you still have unfinished business, certain desires in you, in that particular mind, body, spirit complex that are still there. No matter how much you meditate, no matter how many years you spend in the cave, there is a very good chance that there are certain desires, some desires, a couple, 2, 3, 4, maybe way more even, that are still there. That no matter how much renunciation you do, these are there, these desires are there. And if you don't acknowledge that, then you would be playing a silly game with yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to read you here is something from Wikipedia, the world's greatest source of information. So the concept is called Vairagya. It's a Hindu concept. Vairagya, let's say it's called Vairagya. So I'm going to read you a little bit here and then we'll talk about it. So Vairagya is a Sanskrit term used in Hindu as well as Jain philosophy that roughly translates as dispassion, detachment, or renunciation. In particular, renunciation from the pains and the pleasures in the temporary material world. The Hindu philosophers who advocated Vairagya told their followers that it is means to achieve moksha. So this is the meat and the butter. True Vairagya refers to an internal state of mind rather than an external lifestyle, and can be practiced equally well by one engaged in family life and career as it can be by a renunciate. You see? Vairagya does not mean suppression. Here we go. Vairagya does not mean suppression or developing repulsion for material objects. By the application of vivek, which is spiritual discrimination, to life experience, the aspirant gradually develops a strong attraction for the inner spiritual source of fulfillment, and happiness and limited attachments fall away naturally. Balance is maintained between the inner spiritual state and one's external life through the practice of seeing all limited entities as expressions of one cosmic consciousness or Brahman. So, let me read it again, the later part. True Vairagya refers to an internal state of mind rather than an external lifestyle, and can be practiced equally well by one engaged in family life and career as it can be by a renunciate. Vairagya does not mean suppression of or developing repulsion for material objects. By the application of vivek, which is spiritual discrimination, to life experience, the aspirant gradually develops a strong attraction for the inner spiritual source of fulfillment and happiness, and limited attachments fall away naturally. That is the Vairagya. That's what it is. It's the gradual and natural falling away of desire for external objects in the material world, resulting in internal happiness, peace, fulfillment, and ultimately liberation, or as the Hindus call it, moksha. Now, I will give you examples here to demonstrate to you how such process can be worked on, or can be accomplished, or can happen spontaneously, not even accomplished. It just happens spontaneously. Let's take food for example. Okay, food. So a year ago, I was eating pretty much. I was not really discriminate in my eating habits. I was eating fish, eggs, fruits, vegetables, grains, not dairy at the time. Actually, about a year ago, a little over, I was eating butter. I tried this keto experiment. I was eating a lot of butter. So there you go. I was eating dairy also. Now, ever since then, my food choices have drastically changed. I haven't eaten meat in a little over a year, or fish, or any animal. I ate dairy a few times. So let's say I've been mostly vegan, but even that, as of late, it's been mostly fruits, mostly 80-90% of the time. And this process from A to Z, which it hasn't even reached Z yet, because I know Z is ultimately, I don't even want anything, not even water, total breatharian state. But the whole process has been a process of, in many ways, witnessing the Vairag. None of it at all whatsoever have been forced. When I left the meats behind, it was as easy. What's a good example here? It was as easy as taking your shirt off if you're a healthy person. You have your arms, your hands. It was just as easy as taking your shirt off. It really felt like I was just casually taking my shirt off. There was no forcing about it. I didn't leave the meats behind because I watched somebody or a documentary or something like that. It was like one day I'm like, I don't really want to eat any meat anymore. And that's why it's been so easy. There's zero battling going on there. The Vairagya happened. The Vairagya is the spontaneous process of life. And you have to understand, everyone's evolving into higher consciousness, back to the light, back to the source. So the process of evolution is very spontaneous, much like the turning of the caterpillar into a butterfly. And that moment for me was the spontaneous occurrence of, I don't want to eat meats anymore. But of course, the process of evolution goes on. So, same thing started to happen with eggs. I kept eating eggs for some time, and then one day I was like, I really want eggs. Again, and it's been it's like I took another shirt off casually. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. And then I went into a period of just consuming fruits and juices. And turns out I went in it too soon. See, I was trying to force it. So then I was battling in my mind. There was a battle, like, I think I want to get some carrots and some vegetables, and I want to boil them and maybe put some like pepper on them or something, or some lemon and stuff. And so there was a battle there. I figured out okay, now that's not the Vairagya. That's not what's going on here. I still get the desire in me to eat these different foods, to consume the mother, to consume the earth in these ways. And I should honor that, and I should stick with that and not resist it. And that's exactly what I've been doing, for like a good 6 months or so. There isn't a single vegan restaurant that I haven't visited in my stay in Thailand. As long as I was somewhere where there were vegan restaurants, I made sure I tried all of them. Fully knowing that, okay, the desire is still there. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna accept it. And I'm gonna keep doing my meditations and keep doing my self-study. Studying and gaining wisdom and meditating, and I'll just let that cleanse me. I'm not right now in this moment. I want to have that plate of cooked potatoes and with some curry and stuff like that. All right, I'm not going to resist that. What's the point? Why am I creating resistance here? Let me eat that, and then let me meditate. Let me do my meditations, my daily meditations. Let me do my daily gaining of wisdom, study the human body, the human health, illuminate my mind, because with wisdom and then experience and then meditation, I know that I'm going to continue to evolve, and all these unuseful desires, all these unuseful habits will fall away naturally, again, as a result of spiritual discernment, vivek, spiritual discernment, and spiritual practice. So, it turns out you can't force this. You cannot force your way into higher consciousness. You can't force your way back to the light. You have a particular journey, a particular karmic package, a particular journey, and it is run through the desire system. And anytime you have any desire whatsoever, you manifest as a physical being. So when you're done with these lower desires, and lower desires are simply desires for the material world, food and sex and anything that keeps you in this material world, guess what happens? You don't suddenly just become that he or she who is desireless. No, then you have higher desires. So when you get in touch with your life purpose, with your desire to help the world, that's a higher desire. That's a desire associated with the heart chakra, with the compassion, feeling compassion for your fellow animals, for example, and turning into activism, etc., or making these videos to illuminate people and spread wisdom. That's a desire also. And but that's a higher desire. You see? So as long as you have a desire, and desires are neither good nor bad, they just create the universe. They're sort of, the way the universe is created is through desire. You see? Then you will continue to manifest as a being. Now, if you're a sort of a higher density being, someone who's evolved into 5th and 6th density, your desires are predominantly going to be the higher ones, the ones associated with service to other, with serving the world, with helping fellow beings all around the cosmos. And that's why the wanderers, aka the star seeds, are here. They're here to help because of their desire to spread the light, which is just another desire that is sort of in the way to total liberation. And what is total liberation? Total liberation truly is the falling away of all desires. So what happens, and what's going to happen to me and to many of you at some point or other in your evolution, and it may not be for another 100 births, in not just as a human but as different beings. It may not be for another million, 2 million, 5 million years in the time-space illusion before your desire to spread the light falls. Now what happens is this: at 6th density, you become so balanced in love and wisdom that you realize everything's perfect, and then you just get this spontaneous feeling like my work is done here, and you just go straight back to the source. That's it. Your desire to manifest as a physical being or as any being in any part of your creation just ceases. That's it. You basically at some point in your evolution just go straight. You want to just go straight back to the source, into a state of total, it's not even describable at this point. It's like orgasm times, I don't know, orgasm to the power of infinity. And then that's at some point your desire for manifesting as a separate entity. Because anytime, like, look, there's a separate entity here that wants to spread the light, that came here, agreed to come here, signed up to come here because she, I don't know, let's say he wants to spread the light. So then he has to take on a physical form. He has to take on a personality, a character, a separate thing. There's a separate person here, a personality, a human entity to spread the light. Higher desire still results in a manifestation in an individual sense. And so that final place you go to is the place of oneness. Your sense of individuality completely dissipates at that point. And that's it. You don't manifest as a physical being anymore. You don't manifest as an individual being anymore. You become, again, it's like, imagine you're in an orgasm to the power of infinity, and then that's it. You just go into that place and you stay in that place, and that's it. Your work in creation is done because all your desires slowly, gradually, over billions of years in the time-space illusion, continue to fall away. So when you see someone struggling intensely with material desires, like they have serious food addictions and they just, for whatever reason, they cannot shake it off. They're 50, 60 years old. They've been struggling with that all their life. They struggle with wanting fame, wanting validation. The desire to be liked, the desire to be accepted. That's a soul that is a third density soul in terms of its evolution in a time-space illusion. And because of that soul is still finding it very difficult it's still finding it very difficult to transcend those lower desires. But those lower desires are keeping you in the material world in third density. So that soul is finding it difficult to, let go. Because the Vairagya, the natural dropping, the natural occurrence of transcending these desires haven't happened yet. For a soul that's now in 5th or 6th density in its evolution, like take me for example, I find it difficult not to do this work, this videos, spreading the light. The process of the Vairagya, which is the falling away of all forms of desires, lower desires or higher desires, haven't happened for me yet. And that's why I came here. I signed up to come here. I said, all right, these guys are struggling. These people in this earth, third density, they're struggling. I would like to go down there, and I have the desire to help. I have the desire to play a part in ascending, in helping the ascension process. Clearly, the Vairagya hasn't happened yet, and I'm not in a rush. I'm in no rush for it to happen. I'm sure when my soul was in its third density evolution, I'm sure that I had struggled intensely with desires that kept me to the material world in whichever planet I was evolving in. I'm sure, that's just the evolution process. But because the Vairagya has happened, I come to a place like Earth, I don't find it very difficult for these desires to, fall away on their own. But for me, it's like, you tell me, don't, why are you making these videos? Everything's perfect as it is anyway. This is all a game. Like, what, It's like, no. I still want to make these videos. I still want to help with the ascension process. For me, the Vairagya, the process of the natural, gradual falling away of all desires to achieve that total liberation, that moksha, that nirvana, hasn't happened yet, and I'm in no rush. I'm not going to force it. I'm grooving here. I'm having fun here, making these videos and spreading the light. So you can't force your way into anything, really. It turns out you can't force your way into higher consciousness. It's why I stopped doing psychedelics. I stopped microdosing, particularly because I feel like with daily microdosing, I was forcing my way into a certain state, and I no longer wanted to force my way into anything. I wanted to be in total acceptance of where I am in the moment. Here I am in my evolution as a soul in the time-space illusion. Why don't I accept it and groove it and have fun with it? And so, yeah, I'm in no rush to stop making these videos, or I'm in no rush to, I'm just in no rush to have that desire of wanting to spread the light fall away. When it's time for it to fall away and I'm ready to move on to 7th density, it'll happen, just like a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. So you want to apply that into everything in your life. A state of relaxation and acceptance. This is my desire system at the moment, and I'm going to work with it. You see? So, yeah. Thank you to the Patreons for your support. I love you guys. And if you'd like to support, a couple of bucks a month, all the support goes to the Off-Grid project. So, you can do so down below in the description. You can do one-time donations on PayPal. And Instagram is Saeed Mubayar if you want to talk about anything. And until next time, may the force be with you.